Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of our podcast, where we aim to explore the depth and beauty of our Islamic teachings. Today, we're diving into a profound topic, Usulul Quran, the principles of understanding the Quran. To guide us through this journey, I have the honor of hosting Sheikh Liaqat, a scholar who has spent years teaching and studying this subject. Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallahu khairan, Khalid, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to discuss this vital topic with you and our listeners.
The pleasure is ours, Sheikh. Let's get started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sheikh, let's begin with the basics. What is Usulul Quran, and why is it important for us as Muslims?
Great question. Usul al-Quran simply means the principles of the Quran. These principles provide a framework for understanding Allah's book. The Quran is unique. It's not organized like a typical book. For instance, it doesn't follow a chronological order or a strict A to Z format. Instead, it's arranged by divine wisdom. While this makes it beautiful and profound, it can also be challenging for people who approach it without guidance.
I see. So, Usulul Quran helps us navigate this divine structure.
Exactly. And it allows us to understand the overall themes of the Quran, how the verses or ayat are structured, why certain chapters or surah come in their specific order, the historical context behind revelations, the differences between Meccan and Medinan verses. By studying Usul al-Quran, you gain the tools to approach the Quran systematically, making its message clearer and more accessible.
That's fascinating, Sheikh. But I have to ask, why do so many of us struggle to connect with the Quran?
That's an important question. Many of us are disconnected because we haven't been taught how to approach the Quran. For example, we focus on recitation, which is essential, but we stop there. We don't delve into the meanings, themes, or the reasons behind specific revelations. Without this deeper connection, the Quran can feel distant.
Life gets busy, and I think people also feel overwhelmed by the idea of studying the entire Quran.
Absolutely. That's why Usul al-Quran is so valuable. It simplifies the process, helping us understand the Quran's core messages without requiring years of study.
Let's talk about the word Quran itself. Sheikh, where does this name come from?
The name al-Quran comes from two possible Arabic roots. The first is qira'a, which means to recite. This highlights how the Quran is recited by millions around the world. The second root is qurn, meaning to join together. This reflects how the Quran connects verses, themes, and chapters into a seamless whole.
That's beautiful. So both meanings emphasize its unique structure and purpose.
Exactly. The Quran isn't just meant to be read, it's meant to be recited, reflected upon, and connected with as a unified guide for life.
The Quran also has many other names, right? Can you share some of them with us?
Of course. The Quran refers to itself with several names, each highlighting a different aspect of its nature. Here are a few. Al-Furqan. This means the divider. The Quran distinguishes between truth and falsehood, guiding us to what is right and warning us against what is wrong. Al-Dhikr, meaning the reminder. It constantly reminds us of Allah, our purpose, and the hereafter. Al-Kitab, meaning the book. Although the Quran was revealed orally, it was preserved as a written text. At-Tanzil, meaning the revelation. This emphasizes that the Quran is a divine message sent down to humanity.
Each of these names seems to reflect a unique role the Quran plays in our lives.
Exactly. For instance, as a dhikr, the Quran is a daily reminder to stay connected with Allah. And as a tanzil, it reminds us of its divine origin and timeless relevance.
I've also heard about names that describe the qualities of the Quran. Can you share some of those?
Yes, these are some of my favorite names because they highlight the Quran's attributes. For example, An-Nur, the light. The Quran illuminates the darkness in our lives, guiding us toward truth and clarity. Ad-Diya, the radiant light. Unlike reflected light, this is a self-sufficient source of guidance. Al-Hakim, the wise. Every verse, word, and letter is filled with divine wisdom, perfectly suited for all times and places.
Subhanallah, these names truly show how the Quran is more than just a book. It's a comprehensive guide.
Absolutely. When you reflect on these names, you start to appreciate the depth of the Quran and its ability to guide every aspect of our lives.
Sheikh, what's your advice for someone who feels disconnected from the Quran? How can Usul al-Quran help them?
My advice is simple. Start small, but start with intention. Usul al-Quran gives you a framework to approach the Quran in a structured way. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you can focus on key themes, understand the context of revelation, and connect deeply with its message. For example, reflect on the name Al-Furqan and ask yourself, how does the Quran help me distinguish between right and wrong in my life?
That's practical advice. It's about building a personal relationship with the Quran step by step.
Exactly. The Quran isn't just a text to be read, it's a guide to be lived.
Sheikh, Jazakallahu khairan for sharing your insights today. Any final words for our listeners?
Jazakallah khairan, Khalid. My parting advice is to treat the Quran as a companion. Recite it, reflect on its meanings, and apply its lessons in your life. Remember, even small steps toward understanding Allah's words can transform your relationship with Him.
Beautifully said. Thank you again, Sheikh, and thank you to all our listeners for joining us. May Allah make the Quran a source of light in our lives. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.